Okay, so this is our final discussion. This is my audience, my parents, Brett and Brenda. Um, let's see. So, did you guys think of my website?
I thought it was really, really good. Looks very professional, by the way.
Alright. Well, let's see. The first couple things or the first question, asked some of the things that you guys wanted to learn more about. What were some of the things?
Well, first thing was.
Yeah, let's see. Okay. Well, some of it was about like the conflict between Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah, that was the one thing that because I think it's a very significant time in their country.
Mm-hmm.
It would be cool to see a lot more, just kind of on that and the implications of what the results either way would be.
Yeah. Do you kind of know like what's going on there?
A little bit. I can follow it a little bit.
Like Ukraine is having a problem with Russia because they want to have a partnership with the NATO. Yeah, and Russia doesn't want this because like they'll become more independent, and that's what they're trying to do. And Russia, that's what a lot of the conflict is about right now. Let's see. Like
Russia not wanting them to become part of NATO.
Yeah.
Because they want to occupy them.
Mm-hmm. Because Russia's always been like a big partnership with Ukraine, and like they share a lot of their history, and like they've been like pretty much for a lot of their history. Yeah, they've been involved with a lot of the same stuff, and Russia built a lot of Ukraine too. Like they are in control, like in Kiev, like the capital, and like they control a lot of parts of Ukraine, especially like the cities. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they want to stay in control. Like they don't want, because if they do partnership with NATO, then they'll be able to become a lot more independent and not rely on Russia as much. And one of the problems with that too is that because of that conflict, Russia, because they get a lot of the stuff like oil from Russia. So because of that, they've had problems there. Like a lot of Europe gets their oil from Russia, so that's one problem. Let's see.
So is Russia not supplying them oil?
I think they were going to. I don't know. I think they might have threatened not to. I haven't looked a lot into that, but I know if they did stop, they couldn't really there would be a lot of other people coming in selling them. Like they can't because there's really no other place they can get their oil from, because that's where all of Europe gets their oil from. So there would be people who would intervene if that did happen. Yeah. So let's see.
The other thing that was interesting is the traditional to modern, the transition there. Mm-hmm. That was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the religion part, how it's gone mostly Christian to now mostly atheist. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of that has been because of the history, especially their involvement with the UN. A lot of influence from there.
Now, how does the UN influence religion?
Well, I don't know. I have to look more into that. That's just kind of stuff Yeah. But one thing that we talked about a lot in class is the dialectic of the local and global, and kind of going back to the problem with Russia and Ukraine. You guys know what the dialect of the local and global is?
Well, dialect is explain that real quick, so just make sure.
Okay.
What's a dialect?
So in class, you talked about it's kind of comparing issues that's going on in the world and comparing that to on a smaller scale, global or from locally to globally, like the issue with Ukraine and Russia, that would be on a global level, and comparing that on a local level.
Mm.
Like, one example would be like a high school situation with Ukraine. Like, if you're like in a group of friends and you want to make friends with someone else, but your group of friends like doesn't like that, so that can cause a lot of problems. That's kind of how like with Russia and Ukraine was kind of going on.
Mm.
So that's one.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so that's one way of looking at that. Let's take a little.
Okay.
Let's see what else. One of the other things we talked about was globalization. Do you guys kind of know what that is? Or do you have any questions?
Yeah, well, yeah, just it's interesting how the internet has just really, as far as brought them into. That's like the number 3 stage, right?
Yeah. So there's 3 different levels of globalization. I can't remember what his name. Someone came up with this. We talked a lot about it. So like globalization 1.0 is countries like developing, through like other countries, and 2.0 is like through companies, and 3.0 is on an individual level. So if you have internet, like obviously America is on a 3.0 level because we have so much like
Everyone can access any information they want about any country, anywhere, any place.
Yeah, so that's why Ukraine would be considered one of the biggest reasons it would be a 3.0 because it has the internet. A lot of people have access to that. So because like through social media and like other things like that, like you can connect to pretty much anyone in the world. So it's like that's like one of the best ways you can globalize. Yeah. Very interesting. Let's see.
So they are in 3 then.
Yeah, they are.
Then the other thing I thought was interesting that I want to know more of is like there's so the education. Did you talk about that in your class as far as why that is and why
Well, we didn't talk about Ukraine specifically, but education is one of the Millennial Development Goals.
Do you think that's a result of the goal that they did? Or is that just their culture to begin with?
Well, from what I've learned, they've always had a pretty good education. I think they've gotten better with it since the MDGs, but they definitely, that's like one of the biggest, like out of all the goals, that is one of the best ones they've been doing.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Everyone go to college? Is that the
like 70% have a higher secondary level of education, and almost 100% can read.
Like everybody can read.
Yeah, their literacy rate is really high.
Yeah.
And it's really impressive. That was one of the, especially as being an English major, that was like one of the more interesting things for me because it's kind of like what I'm studying and like what I'm in. So like I was trying to think of what we could like, because he wants us to like look at things from our perspective, like what we're like studying, and so like nurses would like look at it on that kind of type of things. But since I'm an English major, like that's kind of my area, but there's really not much like we could really improve in there.
Yeah.
That I could find at least.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I thought was interesting is one of the goals they weren't doing so well on was the gender equality. What did you guys talk about that? How come they're not doing so well there? What's the hold up?
I don't know. There's a lot of, especially like for countries, gender equality still having a lot of issues just because, like, especially older, like, ideal and stuff, like more developed countries.
But I would think as the internet develops and they get more internet.
Yeah, they're doing better than a lot of countries, but like because developing countries, like ones that aren't developed as much, they have like older ideas, like views on like women and stuff and gender equality. But they're improving, I guess, compared to some other countries, but there's still like way more they could improve in, I guess. Like here in America, like people, like feminism is like so big, and it's like people are taking it to extreme.
They kind of just have to go through that revolution themselves, then, right? Probably,
Yeah. So, let's see. Yeah, they've done. So some development goals they've done really well, and some they haven't, so they're still working on. I think. Let's see. I think they've been fairly successful overall though. Like they've been developing really well. And even though there is more things they can improve in. Is there any other like the goals that you're interested?
Well, the other thing is that I kind of thought this kind of jumping around a little bit, but the cultural stuff that was really cool. How that I saw the video of the dance. That was kind of cool. Was that like a traditional dance, or is that kind of what they do today?
Talk about like culture as much. I just kind of thought that was interesting, so I put it in there. But yeah, that's like I just thought it was like kind of look at like more traditional side of Ukraine, how it like kind of changed because cultures do change a lot, especially through like as they develop and stuff too. Yeah, but I don't know. That was kind of one of the things I thought was cool. Yeah.
The other thing, jumping around again, the new goals that they have.
Oh yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Do you have a question about something?
Well, no. I just think there's a whole lot of them.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to manage those.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, these goals they started sometime in the 80s. And they plan on achieving them by 2015, which is next year. So it's like coming up really fast. So that's kind of like why we've been talking about this a lot, especially I think. And they've been trying, yeah. So a lot of countries are like almost, I think all of the developing countries, like they look at these goals for each country and see how they've improved, and they're working on like trying to achieve each goal in as many places as they can. But yeah, there's 8 goals right now, and that they want to achieve by 2015. And some countries have done better than others, and like I'm not sure if any country has achieved all of them. I think they probably.
Does every country have the same goals?
Yeah, this is a global scale.
Oh, it's kind of like managed by the UN or whatever.
I don't know if it's from the UN, but I can't remember where it's from. But yeah, it's like pretty much all the countries on the global scale, and there's like a lot of people involved in them too. And yeah, so after 2015, once they like look at it and see where like they've done the best in them, they're going to make new goals. And the proposed goals at the moment, there's 17 of them.
And so these aren't for sure goals. They're still these are just what's on the table, and they're going to kind of make sure. Okay, that makes sense.
Finalize.
Yeah, that makes sense to have that.
Yeah.
A lot of them narrowed down to.
So yeah, they'll after I think 2015 they'll look at those and they'll
see where they're at and then decide the best way to go forward.
Yeah. And yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of proposed goals at the moment. Do you guys have any questions about?
I want to know what that dollar is all about.
Okay. Yes, this is my developing dollar. Our teacher gave this to us like one of the very first few days of class, and we each like got one. And he made us like write down, the rules for the dollar. So like first one was we can't use this by my case. Second one was this dollar has to benefit us and our country, our adopted country, and we have to get permission from our teachers before we can spend it. So on my website, I talked about a little bit. I haven't decided yet what I want to use my dollar for, because I want to use it for something really beneficial and something that'll really help people. But so I'm gonna wait for like the right opportunity for that. But let's see. Yeah, I have some ideas. I want to use it for either like to help the environment in Ukraine, either with like poverty or like I don't know, the environment, like the system really, like water or pollution or something like that.
Russia stop sending oil, maybe.
It is only $1, so I'm gonna have to get creative. that's one thing that's like he has us really think out of the box sometimes for that. So it'll be interesting. I'll have to really good. But yeah, I'm still trying to work on what to do. Yeah, there's that. Let's see. What else is there?
The thing about the poverty, tell me more about that, because that was interesting, because how it took a big swing to
yeah, one of the MDGs is poverty. That's actually the first one. They've gotten some improvement in that area. But yeah, their poverty is interesting. It's unique just because of the way it happened. Because when they were trying to change into a market-based economy, it was very unexpected, and something happened in redistribution of materials didn't work as well. So the poverty line changed drastically. It went from down to kind of normal to up to where people even who had stable jobs and had a steady income were under the poverty line now because their income dropped to 60%. So that caused a big issue in Ukraine just because the poverty line changed so drastically. Yeah, but I think they had a recession too. I know for 8 years. Wow.
Just recently, or
back in the 90s, and yeah, it was back in the 90s, and I think they were doing better now, but they're still struggling. But yeah, there's a lot going on with that. It's kind of interesting. Okay. 3 things. So one of the other questions was, let's see. Okay. So in our class, our teacher has us look at different problems and situations a little bit through different perspectives. So I have a whole bunch of perspectives celestial and global and our adopted country and.
What's the celestial? What does it mean?
So we take a situation. So he would have us. He would give us a situation or a problem, and we'd have these signs where it said celestial or global or US, and he would have people sit and take those signs, and we would have to talk about it in that perspective, and it was limited just to that perspective.
What's the celestial perspective?
So the celestial, that'd be looking at it through the gospel situations, and yeah. Whereas US perspective would be kind of think about it through our government and just how our country would react to things. So there's a whole bunch of different perspectives. What were the 3 that you were interested in talking about?
Sociological, historical, and economical. That was the 3 things that.
Okay. So let's see. Economical. What was the second one?
Sociological.
Historical, and historical.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, let's see. I guess if we want to talk about Ukraine with those perspectives, being kind of something interesting. Let's see. Economic perspective, I guess, with Ukraine, what's going on right now. Well, one of the problems is the oil, and that can cause a lot of problems just because with the economy, because if they can't get oil, then that could, just on that. Yeah. Yeah, so that's one of the biggest problems if you're looking at the economic perspective. Yeah. Historical. I guess that's kind of has a lot to do with Russia too, just because historically
they were part of Russia before they split up.
Yeah. The Army did have a lot of Russian control, and Russia's always kind of had a lot of control in Ukraine, and most of the time I haven't minded that through history, but it's been hard now because Yeah, they changed president. What happened was Ukraine actually a long time ago proposed to join NATO, but then something happened and there was an election for a new president, and suddenly he chose not to. And before that, the country wasn't really interested in joining NATO. I know there's a poll that most people just didn't either care or just they didn't want to, or there was a few people who wouldn't mind it, but it just went mostly people didn't care. And after the change in presidents though, and there was a problem after the big conflicts that they had this year actually, 2014 they had a lot of problems, especially with Russia and with their president, and now most of the country is for joining with NATO. That's why there's a lot of problems with Russia, because now the whole country is for it, but Russia obviously doesn't want them to join. So it's a little interesting thing to say. Yeah. Let's see. What else is there? Sociological. We didn't talk about them very much actually.
Okay.
We really talked about historical and some of it, but yeah. I don't know. Interesting. Do you guys have any other questions?
Let's see. I don't think so. Let me just double check here. I want to see.
Okay.
Did we talk about? And then the other thing, besides on the tradition to modern, besides the religion, politics. What were the politics like?
Politics?
Yeah, it used to be to where now, because it was Soviet Union and they were part of that, right? And so when the Soviet Union broke up, they went to more of a presidential system.
They have a democracy, I think. Oh yeah, yeah. You have presidents, so it's kind of more toward, I don't know. I didn't get as much into that as some other things, but yeah, it is a bit different than what it used to be.
Right. Since they're their own country instead of part of the Soviet Union.
Yeah. Let's see. One of the things I kind of mentioned it was the innovations in my field that would be most beneficial to my country. I guess because they do have a really high literacy rate. There's not a whole lot, but I guess one thing since I'm an English major, they do is teach English more. I'm not sure what the percentage of having English speakers or anything, but I know they mainly speak Russian and Ukrainian, and even more now. That's another traditional common thing.
So they automatically learn Russian and Ukrainian.
I think so. I know it's changing a lot. Where they used to speak a lot more Ukrainian, but now that's actually going out a lot more, and most people speak Russian now. Yeah, I actually know someone from school.
Well, and I would think with 70% with higher education, there's got to be a lot of people who have studied English and speak English there.
Yeah, I'm not sure who exactly. I don't have what the percentage of English speakers is, but that would be one thing that could help with is for my my field is teaching English, and so more people know just because that is such a global language now. Most countries know how to speak English. A lot of people do. Yeah, and it's kind of interesting actually. Know someone from from school who is actually from Ukraine, and he speaks Russian, and I don't even think he knows Ukrainian, so kind of interesting.
So Russian and English.
Yeah.
Did he know English before he came to BYU?
I think so.
Did he learn it in school?
Probably. He speaks it really well. He has a really high accent. But I think he does speak it very well. Yeah. So do you guys, is there any other questions you have about the website or
No, I just thought it was a great website. Very good website.
All right. Let's see. I'm sure there's something big. Okay, yeah. One more thing is what direction I would have next U.S. president take on the global development for the U.S. Let's see. Do you guys have any?
U.S. president.
Yeah. Do you guys have any ideas on that?
Well, I think if Russia's trying to occupy them, then obviously
What's this global development for the U.S.? Or is that?
I'm not sure.
Oh, for the U.S. What direction would you have in this? Global development for the U.S. I don't know. What would you do?
Let's see. I don't know. We didn't. I'm not sure if that's like supposed to be what it's supposed to be.
For Ukraine or the U.S. for you? Or for U.S.?
We haven't really talked about U.S. This is about like our little country, so
right. So it's probably with as far as Ukraine's concerned.
Yeah. I think. Let's see. I don't know. I'm not sure if America is helping Ukraine at the moment. I know if they joined NATO, like I think America could I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure, but if how much influence we have there. But I think America is trying to help as much as can. I think we want them to join NATO definitely, just because if they're not involved with Russia, it'd be easier for us
less control.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not really sure what else to say there, but there's a lot of interesting things going on with that right now. Let's see. I think. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see.
Wait, did we go over English and something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because that's the English version.
Yeah, so I think that is mostly it. Yeah, just do you guys have any final questions or concerns?
I think so. You did a great job on the website, and it's good. Very good.